Today, we are going to look at some innovations that individuals and groups have made around the world to solve a problem. But there are some key things that we are going to look at as we go through these innovations. The first one is when looking at a problem that needs to be solved, you need to observe. And so, what can you observe from these pictures? And I'll tell you right now that this is in the Philippines and it is someone's home. So, some observations I think we may all agree to is that it is dark, it is difficult to see, not very inviting, may not look very homey. And when you watch the video in a second, you will understand that they live in a place where they have awful monsoons, so torrential downpours, and they have tin roofs that cover their houses. And so, because of that, it is very dark. Now, we could be like, okay, great, let's fix this problem by installing electricity. However, that doesn't work for this place because these people may not have very much money. They may not have access to electricity plants to even bring electricity into their homes. And so this is where formulating questions becomes really important. So in order to solve this problem about having no light, having very dark homes, you need to think about what could solve the problem in an appropriate way. So people in this area, the Philippines, looked around and said, okay, what resources do we have access to that we could create more light in our homes? Also, what is cheap to use? And in addition to the rain, there's also lots of bugs. So how do we create light in the homes, but keep the rain and the bugs out? And keep in mind, because the way the buildings, the houses are constructed, this could very well be during the day. So the house is this dark during the day. So you have to ask questions, and as we move forward in a unit of inquiry, the formulating questions segment that you'll be participating in, you need to ask questions and think of answers that is relevant to this group of people. So this is the result of the Coke bottle light examples. And this innovation is putting chlorine bleach into some water of Coke pop bottles and making a hole in the roof that is tight enough to not let the rain or bugs in, but it allows the light to come in to the house so they can have light during the day. And of course, during the night, the sun won't activate the chlorine quite as well. So think about what thought went into what is easy for them to use. They probably have Coke bottles that they can just recycle and reuse. Chlorine is not expensive. And this is a way to provide light with still providing the protection from the rain and bugs. Here's another problem to look at, and this one can be more locally seen. So some observations here is I see a water dam, and it's really great for generating power and such. However, I do know that fish need to go upstream, and so we have a small problem here that we need to think about. How can we get the fish to still be able to go upstream to lay their eggs in the beds of the water, but still allow us to more sustainably gain power through hydroelectric dams? So questions we need to ask is, we don't want to disturb the fish, right? So what can we do that will still allow us to get maximum power from the hydroelectric dams, but also allow the fish to continue through their life cycle, and there are more questions and observations you can make. So I'm going to jump ahead to what the innovation is. So it is fish ladders. So the big dam, as you can see, is a huge leap here. Fish cannot climb up the river that way. And so the ladders have been constructed alongside, which a close-up zoom here, you can see that water is flowing down and the salmon and fish still do jump upstream. But the ladders have little sections, so once they jump over one end, they are safe for the most part and won't go all the way back down, as this diagram kind of demonstrates. And so it kind of simulates what a salmon or a fish going upstream to lay their eggs will be like in the natural life, but making it a way to keep the fish safe from some predators. Like you can ask, like, okay, like can bears just reach in there? How is it going to be safe? So fish ladders can be found at water dams all around. So there are 2 videos for you to watch today. One is about the Coke bottle lights in the Philippines. A second is a more urban problem, and the video is on that. Your task is to think about small inconveniences in your everyday life. For example, perhaps one could be when you're reading in bed and you get tired of holding the book up. Like, what thing could be created where the problem is the book keeps falling down on your face, and that's a small inconvenience in your world. Falling asleep could be another one. So just think and post on the blog for today on some problems that you can think of in your life.